Hey, good afternoon. My name is Rich Hart, and welcome back to this segment themselves. We're going to be talking about the temperament and behavior of the generations, the players in today's market, and why the generations are so important to your business. I often say itself, if you're not really looking and structuring the plan of your business according to the generations, you may be missing out on some of the most important transactions or more transactions or the way itself you market not only your particular product, all right, which are the homes themselves you're working with, or maybe how you market yourself because everybody is seeing things differently. They read things differently. They learn differently. All right. And so, what do we know about the generations right offhand? Well, the buying habits, of course, have certainly changed over the many years. And so, as we look at this, we have our seniors, our silent generations, and then we have our baby boomers. Our baby boomers themselves were said to be the largest living generation, the largest purchasing generation out here, whether they were the older segment of baby boomers themselves or the younger. I would like to consider myself as a younger baby boomer. Thank you very much, 1962, and I'm proud to be a baby boomer. All right, but then we have the other or our generations out there, the Generation X, Generation Y, and those themselves are not ready to purchase homes just yet, but I know they're getting ready as our Generation Zs. But if we're not really marketing or really looking at the generations or planning to the generations in our real estate business today, folks, I got to tell you, you may be missing out on one of the very important segments, all right, of planning for your business. So let's talk about this, okay? What do we know? What do we know? The generations themselves have certainly changed. How they acquire information, how they learn information, and how they engage in products and services. Take a look around you. Take a look at those big players in the marketplaces, our Walmarts and our Amazons, all right, and those individuals themselves that how they buy products and services. I got to tell you, already, I'm an adopter already of the online services, the online products and services out there because of the fact itself that I find that I can get things a little cheaper, all right, a little bit more inexpensive, all right. But as we look at the generations and how we market our ability to service, our ability to bring the skills, the knowledge, the tools, and the resources up front, this is going to be extremely important of how we're going to be able to connecting. If you heard a couple of my other segments out there, we talk about relationships. And relationships will be bound by the three most important principles of trust, friendship, and communication. So communication has a lot to do with when we're talking about generations and in working with generations, especially when we're looking to connect the types of services, skills, knowledge, tools, and techniques, all right, to work with today's home buyers or today's home sellers, all right, so we can market to the best of the interest, all right? And so as we take a look at this, I would actually recommend you to two additional courses offered by the National Association of Realtors and offered by REBAC, Real Estate Education Buyers Accredited Council, which you already know that already, but I have to recite that. But SRES, Senior Real Estate Specialist, is one of those courses, and also SRS, Seller Representative Specialist, that really dive into the logistics of the generations, how we market, how they see homes, how they see the development, how they see information collecting so they can make decision. Now we know a majority of individuals themselves today find and they go to the internet to search for a wide majority of well, not only the products and services, but information so they can make important decisions when it comes down to financial decisions. And so in those particular cases, SRES, Senior Real Estate Specialist, and SRS, Seller Representative Specialist, are those two greater courses that'll really dive you down to the depths to really understand more of the parameters, all right, and the underlying factors when dealing with the generations. Now, marketing and outreach will create a greater opportunity out there, and how we will work with those particular generations in the future, especially going forward. Now, what do we know about the generations also? We're getting older. Don't tell anybody, I'm not, but they are. But they're all getting older. And so what do we know, okay, from the fact that our senior, what we call our traditionalists, all right, usually come out and fall on the years themselves about 1927 to 1945. All right, their work ethic is there, their discipline, all right, their ability to hard work and timely, okay, is extremely important. And so understanding how they acquire information, I got to tell you, my senior folks themselves, you would expect those individuals not to be online as much as they are, but they found online to be a connection for family, friends, all right, relatives, individuals themselves that are not normally, all right, being able to engage with on a daily basis. All right, so don't cut my seniors too short out there when it comes down to what? All right, identifying trends, analysis, skills, resources, or working with the internet. Because I got to tell you, those are one of my best adopters out there because they want all the information that's at their fingertips or they can get out from our information at hand. Now, our next group out there are my baby boomers. My baby boomers who usually fall in the range of 1946 to about 64. All right, here I am, 1962, motivated by status. All right, they're very competitive. All right, and they're pretty much toy driven. The one with the most toys wins. But in this particular case, their buying habits are a lot different. They've created a lot of differentials themselves between those of seniors, all right, and those of the baby boomers. And so now when we get down to the temperament behavior and we understand buying habits, or maybe perhaps themselves in the real estate terms of downsizing, second homes, or maybe it comes down to vacation, or maybe to the point of self-retirement. All right, and that's a whole different segment in itself. But when we start to take a look at those, we can see that there's a general difference, all right, from when it comes down to seniors and baby boomers. All right, now then we climb down there into our Gen X's. Gen X is usually from 1965 to 1977. And so what do we know about our Gen X's? They're independent folks. They are somewhat skeptical, but I can tell you something I know about these folks themselves, okay? They're self-starters. They're very initiative driven. And then within that, in the buying process, how they take a look at acquiring the information they need to make that purchase decision is probably going to be far greater or far different than what you would normally see from a senior perspective or maybe from a baby boomer perspective. And then you got your Gen Ys. All right, those, my folks themselves, are 1978 to 1999. We're pretty much tech driven. All right, they're more entrepreneurial people. Okay, they're somewhat realistic when it comes down to meeting the level of expectations. All right, and so just within those groups. Now, I can't talk too much about my Gen Zs. I love my Gen Zs. Okay, give me a kiss, hug. But those folks themselves, a little bit too young for home ownership because we're talking about the 2000s to 2016, 18, 19, and above. All righty. And so when we start to take a look at the generations, all right, and getting information, buying habits, or on how how those individuals implement, or how they want to buy or receive services, you can clearly see, all right, just from the categorization out here that seniors, baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Ys, and of course Gen Zs are going to see something far different out there too as well of how we, one quote unquote, communicate, how we get down information, how we build and develop and continue with relationships, and how we really open those doors, all right, to engaging what it is that we do. Now, think about this. You as a real estate professional have a particular skill, knowledge, tool, a resource, all right, and then you want to be able to reach these particular groups. Maybe it's a vacation home. Maybe it's second home. Maybe it's first-time home buyers. But I know itself that I got to tell you, true to form, every time and I'm dealing with each one of these particular groups, I know sending my message is completely different, all right? Engaging in a level of communication is completely different. And on top of that, self, how we structure, all right, what it is that they're going to want and need based upon the level of service that I'm going to provide is going to be completely different too as well. And of course, the amount of time that I spend with each one, all right? I'm going to tell you right now that my senior folks themselves may take a little bit more hand-holding. My baby boomers themselves will be apt to jumping on the internet and seeing some things and having some sort of presence out there. I know my Gen X and Gen Ys themselves are very internet driven, all right, very hands-off, but it's also the ways themselves are going to be able to communicate. And so as we look at this from the temperament and behavior and the generations going forward, I believe it's extremely important not only to gauge our business themselves or communicate within our business of what we provide as a level of service, but how and what groups themselves we provide that to. All right, and so we throw everybody in one entire mixture, you may be selling yourself short. So, in that regards, I'm very, very thankful for the National Association of Realtors themselves and what they do to provide very important and pertinent information for me to make decisions going forward. All right, especially trends, analysis, different types of statistics that we see in the marketplace today, especially obtaining that information from areas such as field guides, RPR, alrighty, and other areas. But I got to tell you right now, alrighty, when NAR put out the 2020 Home Buyers and Seller Generations Trends Report, this is a report everybody has got to identify with. This is a report itself that everybody should be able to go through. So if you don't have a copy of this report, alrighty, you can obtain that. It's a free report out there. It was put out in March of 2020 this year, updated report. But why not? If we're going to increase in the level of skills, knowledge, tools, and resources, and to understand our generations and the trends and the temperaments and the behavior of the generations going forward, and we're looking to market our skills, knowledge, tools, and resources in the best of our ability, all right, to get it out to our customers and clients, I would say, folks themselves, today, you owe it to yourself to engage and start designing how you're going to communicate to the generations, with the start of your 2020 Home Buyers Report and Sellers Report for Generation Trends. Alrighty, and on top of that, really start to take a look at what is your best interest, what group does your interest serve, and who are the individuals themselves that you want to close transactions with. So I want to thank you very much for joining me today on the temperament of behavior of the generations. My name is Rich Hart. If you'd like to reach us further or have additional information or content that you'd like to obtain, reach us at rich@richhart.com, or you can also dial us in at 888-966-0878. Other than that, I want to thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you join this segment. We'll talk to you real soon. Have a great day. Thank you.